And if you can put this in various ways, if you want to talk about the Constitution, our problem is that our Congress and our congressmen, and particularly the one that represents District 4, spend their time giving power that they are not constitutionally correct to give to various special interests. They pass out power unconstitutionally, and they get, of course, campaign cash in response, but they wreck the country. They follow the constitutional rules. There's not much these guys can do. They can only do a few things, but they do all kinds of other things with our money. Now, we have to get our liberty back. We have to return to constitutional principles. Our government's broke. In fact, it's sort of ironic. We run in this election in 2012, and I'm going to whip this guy in 2012. When we run against him, the hardest, the most difficult votes to get are going to be these professors over at Oregon State. Now, I'm not too happy with some of those guys right now for some of their special activities. But you know, ironically, they should be voting for us more than anybody else, because they live entirely on our tax money and entirely on the government, and their sugar daddy is broke. And unless they get off the backs of the working man, there's not going to be any money to pay them to live over at Oregon State. So we have to get it back. Now, where are we? Politically, we're winning. We're winning. This past election, you sent, the people across the country sent quite a few new people to Washington who have principles, who want to balance the budget, who want to return us to constitutional government, get our liberty back. We have to go through some more election cycles until we get enough to control the place. We have too much of the old guard, and of course they're up there pretending to balance the budget and doing nothing. As a consequence, we're getting worse. The economic situation is getting worse and worse. You don't want to know how bad it is. During the last 10 years, every day, America has lost 12 factories and 2,400 manufacturing jobs. Every day. In the last 10 years, we have lost 44,000 factories. And we can't rebuild those factories until we get the government off our backs so that we're free to do so. But we're winning. This movement, the freedom movement, is getting stronger and stronger. We'll win more seats in 2012, we'll win more in 2014, and I think we can be confident that 10 years from now, our country will be a much better place and most of these problems will be solved. But we have to work very hard, because the sooner we solve them, the less suffering we're going to have. Our country is probably going to go through a period of more and more suffering. In District 4, many of the people in District 4, especially the rural districts, where we won majorities in all those rural districts, those people are poor, they're suffering. Their prosperity is diminishing. All of these factors are hurting us. And they're going to continue to hurt us, and the sooner we solve the problems, the sooner we get these people out of the way, stealing our liberty and our money, the sooner we'll return to prosperity. I'm confident that within 10 years we'll solve the problem, but we have to win elections in 2012, 2014, until we have a majority of principled people in Congress, and then the job will be done. And if we all work together, and you know, we don't have to have we don't want any politicians. In fact, there's some qualities I think are good. You might consider this in candidates. First, don't elect anybody who wants a job. Because if they want the job and they want a career in politics, you don't want that. And there's some other characteristics. But you know that everybody in this crowd, we could just sit here and randomly pick any one of us and have 1,000% better congressmen than we've got today. And so we're all in the same boat. I'm a scientist. I had no intention of running for office, and I'm sure most of you are never thinking of running for office, but you're going to see more and more ordinary people with common sense in the country stepping forth to agree to do these jobs for a few years, because we've got to get rid of these people that are wrecking our lives. And I'm sure we're all in the same wavelength. I don't need to give a political speech. You guys know all the things I know, and some of you can articulate it better probably. But I'm sure we're winning. Things are going to get better because of our fight. You're going to find your numbers growing and growing and growing. 2012 will be a lot worse for the socialist progressives than 2010 was. In 2014, I really mean it. I was rattling de Fazio's cage in one of the reference, but I looked at this guy and he says, the end of your time has come, Mr. de Fazio. And it has. Not necessarily because Art Robinson's going to replace you, but because socialist ideas are being rejected all over the world. Even the communist countries are going to free enterprise because they couldn't survive as communist countries. Only in this country, there's this vestigial group of socialists who just haven't gotten the message that the people of the world don't want what they have to sell. So I think we can be confident. We're going to do a lot better in 2012 across the whole country. We're going to do a lot better in 2014. And you're all going to be able to tell your grandchildren that you were there when we took the country back. Thank you.
I want to talk to you about your most basic of human rights. Now I want you to stop for a minute and think about what is the most basic right you have that all your other rights are built on. You know, some people might think it's freedom of speech or freedom of religion. Others might argue about freedom of movement or the right to bear arms. But I consider the most basic of rights that all rights are built on is your right to your personal property and your person.
Yes.
This is the right of ownership of the fruits of your labor and of yourself.